G'day guys, welcome to the SC Playbook question and answer podcast, the first of the 2026 NRL Supercoach season. Tim Williams on deck to take the questions from the SC Playbook Discord chat from the subscribers, and there's plenty of them flowing in this week. For those of you subscribers out there, jump in and getting these questions in, and you do have an active subscription and you can't get into the Discord, it's a very simple one, guys. Go to scplaybook.com.au, just go to your account and there's a connect Discord button on that. Flick that and it should take you straight through. If you've had any troubles in the last couple of days, there's been a little bit of a hiccup with a handful of accounts out there that it didn't work for. That is sorted. So if it hasn't worked for you in the last day or two, jump back in, click that, and it should get you into our community. As per our WhatsApp community, it's got all the late mail threads, the contributor-only threads, the team advice, punters, Q&A questions, all these sorts of things across all of our different sports, NBA, EPL, NFL, etc., etc. It's getting big, the old world of Supercoach, which is very exciting, and SC Playbook is there to cover every little bit of it with you, so jump in and subscribe if you're interested in that one. Now, on today's show, we are on YouTube as well this year on the Question and Answer podcast. So I'm going to be going through the questions from the subscribers in Discord one by one and having a little look to sort of help with round one teams moving forward. The screen behind me is not happening. It's not playing ball today. It's not mirroring for me. So apologies if I'm looking down at the laptop a little bit too much, but we'll get that sorted for incoming questions, podcasts. And I'm going to start today kicking it off with a question from Phil Eel. He says, "Hey Timmy, love the move to Discord." And I swear I didn't just throw that out there because Phil was giving Discord a plug. And the move is because it's a good question that fascinated me when I had a look at it and was doing a little bit of research. Do you have any stats on Turbo's Supercoach scores when he played without DCE in the Manly side? Brackets, was his scores better or worse without DCE? Now, this is where it's interesting. We know Tommy Turbo's not the most durable player of all time. DCE, he could be. We know that he's played a remarkable amount of games in the NRL. And I went back and I had a look at a few numbers around him in recent years without him. And, mate, the bloke has barely played without him so far. Like, Turbo, I think the only two games in the last two seasons that he's played without DCE have been during the Origin period. Otherwise, DCE hasn't missed a game, which is bonkers, the durability of the bloke for a halfback. Anyway, during Origin last year, Turbo scored 72. The year before was the only game there. Also during the Origin period, I think it was against Newcastle, and Turbo scored 119. Don't even look into it. It was a new-look Manly side. It would have been new-look opposition because of players out to Origin. Just everything changes. So, unfortunately, unless we're going to go way, way back, and let's be fair, DC hasn't missed many games over the years, we don't have a sample size of it. So, it doesn't really help us, the numbers around that one. Second question coming in from, and there was a few of these, which is very interesting. It's around the new rule changes. One from Jordan F. How will the new interchange rule impact how you pick a team, especially around cheapy forwards or cheapy backs who could find themselves in that 18th, 19th player role? Now, I think the biggest impact it's going to have is around potentially your selection of players for auto-emergency looping. And I'm going to get to that one in a minute. And look, this rule's only been officially put in place today. It came out by the NRL. So I'm actually recording this a day in advance. Apologies. So it'd be yesterday or the day before. But came in place, and of course it's now a six-man bench. You still only get your 8 interchanges for the game. You can still only use 4 players, but they have 6 players to choose from. And like all of you, I'm still sort of dissecting how it'll impact things. But yeah, it's shite for Supercoach because the nature of the bench changes so much, and all these sort of fringe players, like there might be a cheapie, to your point, mate, like a cheapie winger or like a CT dub, whatever the position might be. We might start with him, and then a lot of the time you're kind of like, okay, cool. When a CT dub gets dropped, they're out of the team. They're playing New South Wales Cup or Queensland Cup. Now, there's every chance they'll be that sort of on that six-man bench, and they might come on at some point in the game with 5 minutes to go. So they could have scores of 7, 7, 7, these sorts of things. And it's problematic in terms of that. In terms of cheapy CT dubs, nothing really changes, I don't think. It just becomes riskier and more important that we get our cheapies right because, you know, they're cheapies for a reason and not many of them are going to be locked into positions. So that's one there. Forwards are even worse, right? Like with 6 players to choose from now, yeah, I don't know. They might play less minutes. They might not get on. Like all sorts of things could happen. Like thinking a little bit off the top of the dome, but there could be situations where, like, I don't know, a winger goes down and from the six-man bench a winger comes on. It might mean bigger minutes for other forwards. So there's a lot of ways to dissect this. And I might roll this into the other question, and we'll do a deep dive on it on the main SC Playbook podcast next week. We'll do it on Beers and Break-Evens and chat about the potential impacts, particularly on our round one starting teams and how we differ these. But the main one I wanted to go with was a question from, it's down here somewhere and I can't find it. I'll find it in a minute. But it is around auto emergencies and what happens now with the back of, because the flex came in recent years and we have these AA looping, it became a lot more viable to VC, vice captain loop last year. You needed your AE to be able to do that. Now, your AE this year, they're generally blokes who are sort of on the fringe, especially this time of year, on the fringe of squad selection. This year, like, they could be sitting on that six-man bench. Even if they're unlikely to get on, you can't afford to, gamble on it, because I think the other thing is if teams get out to a blowout scoreline or whatever it might be, they might have a player on there that they didn't anticipate putting on, but they might go, screw it, game's out of hand, so let's choose one of the other boys and give that cheapie a run, or whoever it might be, that rookie a run. And it's, as I said, there's a lot to dissect with it. So there's a question. There's a lot of questions in here. Sorry, guys. There's a lot to get through. But there was one around, like, do they go with Kaylani Going, New South Wales Cup Player of the Year last season, someone who unlikely to get minutes, but with injuries, slow minutes might come. He might make some cash over time. Or do you go with young Walsh up at the North Queensland Cowboys, who, unfortunately, I think he did his ACL during the week, James Walsh. This question's from Jacob. I think the big way this changes is you can't really afford to go that borderline fringe player who might come in and get minutes later in the year and might earn points, earn some cash for you. I think you have to go with sort of the out-and-out James Walsh. And as someone who's been against an out-and-out enough in the past to start the year, that is, I think now you can probably start the season with one of them, because it's just riskier to go with an AE unless they're out. So I think, in Jacob's scenario with Kaylani Going or James Walsh, Kaylani Going, he's a huge chance to be on that six-man bench and probably doesn't play a lot of weeks, but there'll be weeks where he gets on for 5-10 minutes and it's just an AE nightmare sort of thing. So, yeah, I reckon James Walsh and the Nuff, who's actually not going to play at all during the year, largely probably going to be due to injury, becomes a play. So James Walsh, I think he's dual 2RF CT dub. I think his ownership's going to skyrocket, unfortunately for the wrong reasons for him, because apparently he'd been going well up there in North Queensland, but I hope he'll be back bigger and better next year. Alrighty, next question comes in from Nozza. Shout out to Nozza, been doing some great things in the Discord and helping people with any questions as they adjust to the transition. Excluding the obvious cheapies, can we get the players you're most keen to see in the trials for Roll Watch, etc., maybe a top 5? Absolutely we can, and in no particular order, and actually I put a little list down here. I could have gone for days, but we don't have enough hours in the day. I've put a few extras on here, but Suafara Longo is a huge watch for me. I suspect he will be electric. He'll look good. He'll do some impressive things in trials, and a lot of people will jump on him. He's one that is he's not in my squad at the moment, but could come in with some impressive trial performances. To be honest, I want to see him almost... He'll be locked into that Storm side at fullback, at least for the first few rounds, but I want to see him defend reasonably well at fullback. I want to see his positioning good. I want to see him safe under the high ball and diffuse a lot of kicks and those sorts of things, because as far as I'm concerned, when he's playing 80 minutes at fullback for the Storm, I think he's going to exceed his starting price and could explode. But job security, as I said, it's good to start the season, but if he plays poorly, and he does have some errors in his game and some downsides to his game, he's a smaller body, Suafara Longo, although apparently beefed up a little bit in the off-season. Yeah, I want to see him just do the little things right and really cement his spot in that team. The Newcastle Knights in general, as a current, KP sort of in and out of my team, is leaning towards out, and that is because I have concerns over the Newcastle Knights forward pack. So KP we don't think will probably see any trial time before Vegas, which makes him even riskier. I want to see the Knights come out and play some good footy. I want to see their forward pack impress and have a good impact there and set a platform for Sandon Smith and, the halves, Fletcher Sharp, these sorts of blokes, just so that I know that, restore a little bit of faith and put a bit of belief, I suppose, in them that they can set a platform for Kalen Ponga come that Vegas opener. So big watch on them. Cody Walker, the veteran of the game, coming back from a lot of soft tissue injuries last year. I want to see how sharp he looks. I want to see the Bunnies in general, how they look, but has he lost a yard of pace off the back of the injuries and getting on in age? Because he's someone that's in my team at the moment. I'm pretty keen on him, but I do want to see him moving well and looking fit and healthy. Oblix Tafa, apologies if I've got that pronunciation incorrect. I'll confirm that one. But Tafa at the Brisbane Broncos, apparently killing the preseason. Brendan Peter is under a bit of an injury cloud. I think he'll be good to go for round one, but Tafa likely to get a bench spot, play through the middle, but could also start on an edge if anything happens to the edge back rowers. So he's about 360k, which is a little bit awkward. So I probably won't be starting him, but if there was an injury to an edge back row and he were to start, I think he'd become a very popular player. He's a very, very good footballer up there for the Brisbane Broncos. Lockie Galvin and Bailey Hayward at the Doggies. I've sort of spoken about it on a few shows already, actually on Beers and Break-Evens and Playbook this week, but Bailey Hayward, not in my team at the moment, probably won't be, but I just want to see him running the ball at number 9. If he does do that and has a bit of a lease after a full preseason at 9 for the Doggies, after shifting from that sort of middle 14, the 14 role where he'd come on through the middle role, he interests me, but probably not. Lockie Galvin apparently killing the preseason at the Doggies. I don't think I can start him because he's halfback only. If he was at 5'8", he'd be in my team, but he's been working with Roger Fabry, the famous sprint coach, and apparently he's put on a bit of extra speed off the back of that. And just, again, it was such a disrupted year last year. Sky's the limit for him. So I'm really keen to see Lockie Galvin. And then the other one is Helam Lukey this weekend, named to starting edge for the Cowboys. He's a tick over $400,000, one of my favourite players in the NRL. Just needs a good run of luck. If he does have a good run of luck, I think he can play Origin this year or next year, but it's been tough. So with Jeremiah and I out to start the season, a little light on edges. The Cowboys, Lukey, if he looks good, looks fit, starts, plays big minutes, he's a sneaky one to begin the season as well. Guys and girls, we're extremely excited to announce we've partnered up with Mountain Culture Beer Co. to kick off the 2026 NRL Supercoach season. So if you've been living under a mountain yourself and you've missed the memo, they're rated Australia's #1 brewery. There's no sugar on top of that one, winning the prestigious Gab's Hottest 100 Craft Beer Award with their Status Quo Pale Ale for the 4th year on the trot. Brewed at the foot of the Blue Mountains, it's the most impressive four-peat to come out of the region in just about as long as I can remember. We're extremely grateful for their support of the podcast and of the SC Playbook platform this season. And better yet, it's an excuse for me to crack open the best craft beer in Australia, 4 years on the trot, while talking NRL Supercoach. If you're keen to give it a crack yourself, head to mountainculture.com.au. Use the discount code MOUNTAINCULTURE4, that is number 4, Mountain Culture 4Pete, to receive 10% off beers with your first order. Join the growing dynasty that is Mountain Culture. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy one of them myself at the back end of this show, so I could not be happier. Next question coming in from Sammy Shembry. Tossing up starting without Payne Haas this year. Whew. There are a few I like in the front row at $300,000 less than Payne Haas, such as Toby Couchman, Hopgood, and Isaiah Papali'i if he gets the 80-minute edge roll. Is there any chance Haas is managed and comes out slower, or am I crazy not to start with him? I can use that bulk cash to spend up elsewhere. Thanks, mate. No, you're not crazy at all. Put it this way. Prior to last year, starting with gun front rowers was not even conceivable. No one really thought of doing it. Payne Haas changed the game, because he's, arguably the greatest front rower of all time, and certainly probably the greatest Supercoach front rower of all time. Shout out Paul Gallen back in the day. Granted, he did it at lock. But at $852K, he has to be enormous to match his price. And I've spoken about him ad nauseum already this piece, and why all the reasons I think he's a good buy and you should probably have him. But, you don't need to follow the herd, because those who have Payne Haas, we need him to come out we need him to average, what is he? He was about 87 points per game last season. Anything less than that, and he's going to drop cash more than likely to start the season, and you're sitting there licking your lips as he drops cash, and you might pick him up at 800, 750K. All the while, you've picked up someone with cash generation potential, and it becomes a great start to the year for you. So, as I said, a fantastic buy, but I don't think Payne Haas is an absolute must. You're living a little dangerously going without him. You just sort of be, I don't know if he'll be managed, off the off-season. He'll be fresh, he'll be raring to go. I think the Broncos will be coming out to make a big statement early that, like, there's no complacency, we're ready to rock. They're still going to be riding that high of last year as well. So I think they probably come out and fire week one, and I just think he's going to want to play minutes. So, yeah, a great buy, but by no means at that starting price is he a must-have. You could absolutely go against him if you'd like to. One coming in from Nathan. Is it insane to run double cheapy halfbacks in Saunders and Atkinson? Doesn't seem to be a great bottom dollar crop to start the season. It's not insane. The issue is if you do that, like Atkinson's got pressure on him from Lycan King Tonga. You've got Ethan Sanders, who he's got pressure on him from Kobe Black. So, look, I'd assume they're locked in for the first 3 or 4 rounds, but both coaches, Ricky Stewart, Shane Flanagan, they're going to be happy to pull the trigger and cut the cord and give the other bloke a chance if those two aren't performing in the first rounds of the season. Now, we might get one price rise out of them if that happens. They might start really poorly score-wise, and we might get no price rises out of them or a very little one. And the issue there, I mean, it becomes that you've got to make a move. What do you do with them? They sort of sit there languishing on your bench, and you're down a halfback, and it forces you to play the other halfback for the early parts of the season, and you could drop some serious points there. That is my sort of concern. Like, look, if Sanders got dropped, I guess you could move across to Kobe Black, but what's not to say Sanders doesn't come back in by round 6 kind of thing. King Tonga, you can't really go sideways there because he is worth a fair bit of money. On the glass half full side, they're two halves who are locked into starting positions, I would imagine, at least for the first 3 or 4 rounds, if not longer. And if they come out, they score well, they could make 200K, and you've got both of them. And if they do both start well in those first 2 rounds of the season, people are going to be trying to find a way to do that, and they're probably going to be doing that either by downgrading their starting half, like their gun, or someone in their flex position. Most people will probably run a fullback and do it that way. So it's not like, by no means is it a bad move at all. It's just a little bit risky. And I think, when I talk about the flex position and why I think I want to play it with 3 fullbacks, is I think guys like Failongo and Jai Gray and a few others there's pretty good value about them. So it's not like, I think you're getting players who could average 70, 75 plus potentially in the early parts of the year, and you're getting them at a big discount, as is Keanu Kinney, the obvious one as well. So, yeah, not for me, but I see merit in the play. One from Severus. Hey, Timbo, keen as for the season, aren't we all, mate? Team structure question. I'm torn between running 3 cheapies on the bench at CT Dub or a mid-ranger and 2 cheapies. Now, it's hard to forecast this far out, especially before trials, what the cheapest team is going to look like. We have an idea of what teams will look like, but we don't know what it's going to be. So I think at the end of the day, if there were 7 gun CT Dub cheapies who all look locked into roles in good teams with good draws, etc., in a dream world, I'd probably start all 7 of them, but that's unlikely. So we'll have a look at what the cheapest team looks like closer to round 1. But to answer your question, like, I've been burnt in the past, I think a fair while ago now, but I think most of us had, by running too many cheapy CT Dubs in the starting spots. And I think with the sort of evolution of the CT Dub with these base and power guys, that position has changed in recent years, that you might pay up for a Herbie or a Kiraz or an Iro or a couple of these sorts of guys. It just becomes risky having to play them. But in your situation, if you've done that, you've got 4 decent CT Dubs in your starting team, so you're covered there. If any of them have a bye early on, or one cops a 1-week suspension or a HIA, whatever it might be, you have 3 cheapies to pick from. One of them will be doing half all right or have a good matchup, and you can play them that week. So if there's 3 quality CT Dub cheapies to run with, and as it stands, we've got guys like Makasini, if he starts for the Tigers, hopefully we get confirmation of that before round 1, which the Tigers have the bye. Tommy Chester looks likely to overcome this injury and start for the Cowboys. A big chance at centre. Setu too at the Dragons. So obviously all with risk of their own, but the cheaper crop at CT Dub looks okay. So yeah, I don't think there's necessarily too much harm in not going in mid-ranger there if you don't like any. Alrighty, next one comes in from Bunsen. Hope you're well, mate. I'm interested in your thoughts on running Payne Haas in the flex to start the season. Just bank that guaranteed 70 each week. Fullbacks can be very volatile at the start of the year, so considering this option instead, probably not for me, mate. I think you don't necessarily have to go with fullbacks, but front rowers, I think if you got Haas, just put him in your starting front row spot. I wouldn't be worried about having three. You've already got 4 front rows to choose from to start the year or to add to your team. I don't think you need a 5th. I don't think the position is that good. So, maybe at some point in the year, if AFB and Tino and Haas and all these blokes are just belting out the big scores, hopefully Big Tino gets his jewel this year as well. I just think, as I said, if it was all the fullbacks were all top dollar and you wanted to save money elsewhere and they can be volatile, sure. But the blokes I mentioned earlier, there's so many around that 498, whatever Kinney is, 500k category that I think are going to make good money, and their ceiling is 100 plus on their day. So, yeah, I don't love the front rower flex option. I'd be looking, it doesn't have to be fullback, but I think fullback's the play. Next question coming in from JP. Hey, Timmy, what's your thoughts on going Jaden Sewer as a pod option over the more highly priced back rowers? Yeah, so starting the season, Sewer at 619k. Not for me, mate. Averaged 75 minutes last year for 63 points. He had 44 in base. That's all good. I don't see him really going far over that average to start the season, if at all, unless the tries come, and they may, but I think odds would suggest they probably won't. He scored 4 tries last season, had a couple of assists to his name, good footballer, potential Supercoach improvement in him, but season averages in the last few years when he's been a big minute man, 63, 67, 57, 52. Not for me, but to emphasise, and I'll do this time and time again throughout the season and across the pre-season, he's a big minute back rower for an improving club. He's a good footballer. Back your gut, because there's no reason why he can't exceed his value and start well and average 80 with a few tries and try assists to his name. Just not one that I'll personally be going for, but back your gut on him if you think he's in for a big season. Next question coming in from, who have we got now? Terry. First ever post. Shout out, Terry. Love the vids. Thank you, mate. My question is, what minutes does Tommy Flegler get after a 2-year holiday? Is back up to 50 minutes regularly reasonable? I don't think so, mate. Just because he's been out, as you said, for a long, long time. A holiday is probably generous, considering he had nerve damage. He'll be getting through his rehab, that bloke, and it's been probably a tough couple of years. But Tommy Flegler, had a good chat about him with Guru on Beers and Breakhampton this week. We chatted 2RFs and hooker previews, and the Dolphins are stacked. And I just don't think they need to rush Tommy Flegler back into big minutes. Like, he's priced at, about 328k or something. Let me find him. And I think that they have so much depth. Max Plass a chance to play round one as well, which won't help the cause. 346k. So, he's cheap, but he's not a cheap E as such. Yeah, I think they've got Ray Stone, Tom Flegler, Oren Keeley, Morgan Knowles. That's my bench for them so far. Tom Gilbert, Connelly, Lemuelu, Kulikefu, Fini Fuiaki, Francis Molo, Daniel Saifidi, Kurt Donahue, Max Platt to potentially come back in. That's not even mentioning Felice Kufusi. Yeah, I think they'll ease him, and he might dare to go 20, 25 minutes a game, maybe a little bit more, but I think to sort of go up in value and warrant starting him, he'll probably need that 40, 45 plus. I think he's going to be a buy, but I suspect it'll probably be more like around 7, 8, if that, as he eases back into the bigger minutes at the Dolphins. So, yeah, that's the thoughts. All right, guys, that'll do us for the Q&A podcast for this week. There's a ton more questions to get through there, and we're doing this regularly throughout the season. We'll grab questions for the SC Playbook podcast as well moving forward. I also want to jump in, and the beauty of this move to Discord, I can do live Q&As and jump in there just for the community and do it on the run there and do it on the fly and have a chat about things. So really keen to get those up and going as well, starting either this week or next week. But they're going to be some absolute crackers. So yeah, stay tuned for those if you are in the subscriber community. As for now, I hope you enjoyed the first Q&A podcast of the season. Have a great rest of your week.